Hello, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Join me in my craft room tonight as we paint this very rustic sled. I painted one a few weeks ago with you. I'm going to do something just a little bit different with it. Had everybody vote last time. My last video live, did you want me to do fall or did you want me to do Christmas tonight? And it was kind of just half and half, pretty much even. So I have one last sled. I got these at Canton Trades Day. Very rough, rustic. I don't think they even put a sander to them at all, but they were already painted. It was kind of a pinkish red, so I did put a layer of or a coat of Tuscan red on it, just to kind of Christmassy it up a little bit. It was just more of a pink than it was red. Here's what we did on the last one, and this is what we will be doing in the workshop that I'm having at the end of this month. So if you have not signed up for that, here on my page, you can go, you'll see the picture of it, go down, click on it, and then get access, and it will take you to pay. It's $9.99. It'll be a 3-day workshop. First day and a half, couple of days, we're just going to be working on techniques and different ways to use your brushes and just some different tips and things that I've learned along the way. And we'll be floating, doing some practicing on shading and highlighting and using your liner brush. But then the last half of the second day, we'll do some base coating on your surface and then finish it up on that Saturday, which is October the 1st. So the 28th or 29th, 30th, and 31st. The last 2 days of this month, and then the Saturday. So go to and just click on that picture and it'll give you more information on that. We've already got, let's see, 24 that have registered and paid and ready to go. I did post the list yesterday of what you'll need on there. We'll talk about that some more. Hello, everyone. Let me get you pulled up over here on my iPad so I can see comments once we get painting. And I am Pam Savage with Young at Heart Creations. I guess you'd like to know who I am. Some days I'm not sure who I am, so you're ahead of the game if you know. Let's see. All right, I don't want to hear my voice. So let's make sure I get that off. All right, I don't want to hear my voice. Okay, it was echoing. Okay, and yes, I'm seeing comments. Hi, Lynn and Dana and Laura and Jean. Thanks for hopping on. Peggy Wilson was our winner of the Happy Mail because I have had 1,000 followers. I now have 1,016, so they're just still coming in. Yay, I love it, love it, love it. It's like opening up a Christmas package every day when I go in to see how many followers there are. Just absolutely love it. So I mailed her package out today, but I don't say what's in it or post a picture of it until the recipient gets it and has a chance to open it, because I don't want to ruin the surprise. It's fun to get the package and open up and see what all's in it. So she's going to let us know when she gets it. Hi, Sherry. She's going to let us know when she gets it and send me a picture of her opening it. So I hope she likes the little things that are in it. Okay, so tonight we are going to paint this last little sled that I've got, this rustic sled. And comment the last week. Now I can see your comments now, but the video last week, and I understand there were several that were having problems with it, but after the video was complete and I went back in to read comments, I could not see any comments. They were not there for me. So it would not let me. On all my other videos it was fine, but I could not see it. So hopefully after tonight, after this one, I hope Facebook got all that worked out. I can go in and read your comments. I try to reply to everyone, just to let you know that I appreciate you being here, and I just love going back and reading the comments. Okay, so I could freehand this face on. I'm just going to do a snowman face on this. Not going to get real detailed like we did in this one here for the workshop. It's got a lot more details in it. So I could just freehand a circle on this surface. Hi, Jody. Hello. But I'm going to just use a coffee can. This is an extra large coffee can vegetable can. You could use a saucer, whatever you've got. If you want, you know, a circle. Typically, I'll just freehand it on, but this worked out to be the perfect size. And then I'm going to put, we'll trace a little bird on his head. I've got this traced out and put some details on him. There were so many things. I thought, okay, so many things I could paint on this. I thought about doing a mountain scene with some pine trees and snow, and I thought, well, I'm not going to get that detailed. so I took the lazy way out. We're just going to do a snowman tonight, and then next week, for those of you that voted fall, next week we will do a fall, because I've got three fall orders that I still need to get finished and to the customer local. I don't take orders online or anything unless I'm having a live sale, and I'll take some then, but I do for my local church sisters, you know, here and local in our area that I know I don't have to ship anything out. I do take personal orders for that. So I do have some orders to catch up on. And that picture that I posted of all those pumpkin trios that I had down in on my kitchen table or my dining room table, I got all the pumpkin fronts finished. So got all 8 of those done. Now I got to flip them over and put the snowman and gingerbread man on the back. So I have been making progress. All right, I'm going to bring you down so you can see better what's going on here. So I'm just going to take my chalk pencil and I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. This has got 2 pieces here, so it's got a crack here, so we'll just have to kind of meet it. So I do want it to go over that crack a little bit. And since this is already a dark surface, I didn't stain it or anything. That's just the way it was. This will show up really well. And chalk pencil, once you're done and everything's dry, we'll just wipe right off. Okay, easy peasy. And then I've got a perfect circle. All right, so we need to get started with our white, and I know it's going to take a couple of coats. I'm using for my white, it's Delta Creative Ceram Coat, and I love, love, love it. I think it covers better than any white that I've used, but it's getting hard to find. Can't really find it that well. Okay, I'm going to start out with 1 inch flat, and if I don't like that, I'll go a little bit smaller. I've got an angle brush I could also use. Well, let's see. Let's go ahead with that little angle brush, and we'll just get the insides done, and then we'll fill it in. So angle brush has a tall side, a tall end, and that's called the toe, and then it goes all the way down, just slants down. The short side is called the heel. So heel, toe, heel, toe. If you ever took tap in dancing, just think of that, heel, toe, or heel, toe, heel, toe. All right, so I've got my brush loaded up, and we're just going to go right inside that line. Don't have to stay exactly inside of it. All right, now let's see if we can get this transitioned over. Not sure why they did it in 2 pieces, unless they just didn't have all the sizes they need, and this was made out of some of their scraps, so they just pieced together what sizes they had. And this is kind of an awkward piece. It's a little bit large, so kind of hard to keep in the camera sometimes. But I do like the dark surface. You can see more what I'm doing. So no pressure, no mistakes, huh? I was gonna cook supper, and I was thinking, oh, I really don't want to cook tonight. I didn't say anything. I was gonna cook. I started thawing meat out. But I've been really busy today, and then it was my live night, and my hubby just out of the blue said, "Why don't you go get us something for supper tonight?" I said, "I love you." Yes, go get us something. So I sent him after some barbecue. That's what we're gonna have tonight. All right, so I'm just kind of getting the outside edge done. And this is very rough here too. It's got, I don't know what kind of, some kind of tool marks on these. I'd like to know the story behind them, what they were making with the wood. Canton Trades Day is, I forgot how many acres of vendors it is, but on a good weekend they usually have around 300,000 people there, and it's, you just really can't see it all in one day. So a lot of people will stay at the hotels or Airbnbs. It's always the first Monday weekend when they have it. It's in Tyler, Texas, so it's about 2.5 to 3 hours from us. If you want to get a good parking place, you have to get there early. But it is so much fun. Okay, just spreading some of that paint out. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Charlotte. Hello, Miss Marie Mosley. There were a lot of crafters and painters having problems with comments. Yes, a lot of them. So, hi, Lisa. So, I'm understanding that they were doing some kind of an update, or they're making some changes. So, who knows? And there's Miss Barbara. Hi, Trudy. So, if this is your first time on, I've gotten so many new followers that I haven't got to say hello to everybody. So if you're new, just let us know. Say hello and where you're from. I do Happy Mail drawings for every new 100 followers I get. I do a Happy Mail drawing from usually the last 2 videos that I had. And so the only way I'll see your name is if I can see the comments. So the way I got the comments for this last drawing, because the video, when I went into my comments, nothing was there. I just had to rewatch the video, and then I rewatched it, and as you commented, I jotted your names down real quick, and then I took some from the previous one as well. So I'm having to go all different directions to get this to really soak into where they have grooves. You may not can see them, but in this wood, I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out what kind of a tool would have made those marks. I'm just not sure. Okay, my quiet hair dryer is downstairs because I'm still working on all that stuff on my dining room table, so bear with me. A little bit of noise here. All right, now I'm gonna switch to my 1-inch flat and see if we can get a little bit quicker coverage. And I may put 3 coats on it, we'll see. I could have put a light gray down first, and it might have covered a little bit better. But I think with as dark and rough as this is, I think it's doing pretty good. I start keeping my new grandson Tuesday. I will be keeping him on Tuesdays starting next week. They're about an hour, not quite an hour from us. And I have to be there about 7:45 till 8. So I will be getting up a little earlier on Tuesday mornings. Looks like a moon right now. All the dark and light spots. Looks like a big old moon. I have to be careful with this because it is so rough in places. It'll scratch me up. I bought, I think I bought 8 of these, maybe 6 of them. I sold a couple of them just as they are with nothing painted on them. I think I sold 3 of them. So I've got 3 here. So yeah, that would be 6. Okay, so I'm just kind of standing it up on its chisel edge there. That means just standing it straight up to get around that edge. Okay, I'm going to put one more coat on it. Let's get it really good and dry. Hi, Peggy. I was just telling them, Peggy, that I mailed your package out today, so you should be getting it. Thank you for sprinkling. Sprinkling means S-H-A-R-I-N-G. This video, this live out to all of your media. Facebook, for some reason, doesn't like us to say the S-H-A-R-E word. I'm not sure why, but that's what sprinkling means. Or spread the paint, or something like that. This dryer has a cool button, so right before I get ready to stop, I put it on the cool and cool it down a little bit so I'm not painting on the hot surface. All right, let's see if this coat does it for us. You're welcome, Miss Peggy. So the lady that was at the booth selling these, I was looking at them and she just wasn't really in a real good mood that day. The weather was terrible. It was cold. They were calling for possible sleet, rain, just cold temperatures. And you could tell, she said, I don't know why we're here. I don't know if she was the owner or just helping. I'm going to add just a little bit of water to my brush to help this smooth out a little bit. But she said, I just don't think anybody's going to buy anything. And I was looking at these and she was like, I don't even know why I brought those. And I said, well, I would take more, but I can't carry more. But I'd like to buy 6 of them. And her face changed and she's like, oh, okay. And I thought, you know, had you been friendly and positive, I might have bought 10 of them. I just couldn't carry 10. But I looked at them and I looked at them and I thought, man, those are in rough shape. That's the way they made them. It wasn't like they were old and been slammed around and everything. That's the way they made them, to look rustic. And then the more I thought about it, the more I liked them. I just liked the look of them. Of course, my husband looked at me like, what are you doing? He knows by now, though. He knows. I'll transform it somehow. we went to a different trades day several years ago, and we went over to the junkie section. I love going in the junk section, see what I can find to repurpose. And I saw this fireplace screen. It wasn't a screen, it was wood. And how do I put this nicely? It was 3 supposed to be Santas. But I kid you not, and I don't ever criticize people's paintings, but I don't know if maybe a child did it. I'm not sure, but it looked like something for Halloween. The colors were terrible. The faces on them were scary. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. They were just scary. It was in horrible shape. There were three connected Santas. And immediately I was drawn to it. And I remember my husband saying, "What in the world do you want that for? And what would you do with it?" He said, it's something like, "It's hideous." And I said, "Yeah, but you've got to see the big picture. You've got to see the potential." And he said, "We don't even have a fireplace." I said, No. I'm going to separate them and make 3 separate Santas. Oh, well, I happen to have it over here. Let me grab it. I kept one of the sections. So they're a good fireplace. I'm going to raise you up here for just a second. So it was a good fireplace size, screen size. That's the size it was. So this was the shape of them. And it had, I'm not kidding you, the scariest face on it. Not mad, just scary. And so anyway, you can tell where they were connected a little bit. And so I separated them, and this is what I turned them into. Now, I have a lot to learn on painting still, so I'm not bragging on my painting, please. But I just want you to see, don't ever walk past something that you can transform. So I've got his little boots, and we put a base on him. And so, I mean, it was literally, they were going to throw it away. And I said, no. So I kept one for me. We paid $10 for all 3. They were connected. I sold the other 2 for $40 a piece. So I made $80 on those 2 after, redoing them. And then I decided, no, I got to keep one for myself. So, trash to treasure. Trash to treasure. I love finding things like that. Okay, I think, let me dry it and we'll see here. Thank you, Laura. Hi, Selma. Hi, Debbie and Cindy. Okay, I've got just enough paint still out on my plate to do one more coat. So I'm going to go ahead and do one more coat just to be sure. Oh, let me bring you back down, sorry. Hello, Miss Jeremiah Dreams. Y'all are welcome to put your business name in here. If you have a business name, if you have a Facebook page or Etsy page, you are more than welcome to post it while we're live. Okay. Definitely enough coverage. All right, let's get this. decide what, do I want an icy blue? All right, let's go with Williamsburg blue around the inside of his face. It's a really pretty blue. Now, I am going to get it just a little bit wet. You can use floating medium around it as well. This is the lazy cheating way. And I'm just going to use my 1-inch flat. I'm going to go ahead and load it with some white. Just dirty it up a little bit with that white. And then just on the corner, I'm going to get a little bit of that blue. And then we'll just work it around. Now, it's pretty dark, so you want to just fade it out. Some ridges there. I'm just using the white edge. Turn it around just a little bit. The difference that makes. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of moisture, very little, on here just to help it kind of float out. Typically I would be using a little bit smoother brush. But since the surface is so rough, I don't want to use my good brushes on it. Okay, I got quiet on you. I'm going to clean that out just a little bit on my towel, and then I'm going to come back in with a little bit of white. Kind of came in a little bit further in some spots than I want it. So I'm just going to tone it down with my white. Okay. All right, so there's our shading. I'm going to get that good and dry, and then I'm going to go ahead and trace the bird on so I can kind of get him placed. Come in with just a little more white. I see now that that's dried. So a couple of more little spots up here that I want to tone down a little bit. You don't want a really harsh line with it. Just want it to just kind of walk out like an ombre. It's a little bit lighter, and just kind of fades as it comes in. Okay. Hi, Melinda. What blue is that again? It is, I don't know if they still make it. It's Williamsburg blue. Williamsburg. Then I also love the colonial blue. It's a real pretty. It's just a little bit lighter than this one. Also, Anita's Blue Fog is really pretty. You could also do them in gray. I just like the blue tones. Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to try this. I'm not sure what it's going to look like. First, I'm going to put that, I got too much of that Williamsburg out. So I'm going to put some back in my bottle. Try not to waste it. But I want to see if this deep midnight blue, I want to see what it looks like around the edges. I may have to go with a black. I don't have a darker brown than this. Well, you know what I do? I think this is bittersweet. Let's see what that looks like. I want to put around the outside of him so that it makes him look dimensional. Let's try just a little spot right here and see what it does. See if it's dark enough. I may have to go with black. Caught up in the cord here. Okay, let's put a second coat on it. By putting a second coat on it, you're going to really darken it. It's better if you can stay with the same paint rather than trying to switch to a different color. And you can do that, darken it by, after you dry it really well, just put another layer on it. Okay, that's gonna maybe do it. We'll see here. It's pretty much the same color as that wood. Okay, now it's showing up really well. Once it dried, not going to matter too much up here because that's where our little birdie friend's going to go. And I don't have a base coat of this color to put on with this because it was already stained. So I'm just adding this darker brown and some little choppy strokes, but then I'm really thinning, spreading it out, smoothing it out. Just gives it some dimension and looks almost, makes it look like a 3D piece. Or like you've got another, that this is a piece of wood sitting on the wood. I've had so many people comment and contact me about the teacher door hanger I did with the apples on it, asking where I got the apple cutouts. They're not cutouts. It's just painted on a circle, on a round. But the reason they looked like they were cutouts was because we did this. Do a little bit over here because I'm not sure exactly where that bird's going to stop. Okay, now I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to come out just a little bit further. But it's really lifting it off of there. Really adds just dimension instantly to it. Okay, so let's get that dry. And then we'll trace our little birdie on. Roxy, I'm not using a floating medium. I do have it, and sometimes I do use it, but I just got it a little bit moist with water around it, and it basically does the same thing. You just kind of have to get used to the feel of doing it with just water. Now the gel is really good. I used to never float without it, but I've just gotten kind of used to doing it with water. This piece is really rough, so it does look a little bit different than what it typically does. It's not quite as smooth as they typically are. Okay, so I've got this little birdie here. I've just traced it on some tracing paper, very clear, and let's decide where we want him. So I want him just kind of sitting right at the top of his head. All right, I don't have any tape up here, so I'm gonna have to hold it in place. This is white graphite paper. Black wouldn't show up very well on here, so I've got white. And I'm just gonna use my stylus. You can use a ballpoint pen, you can use a pencil, just, you know, whatever you have. Let's turn him around just a little bit. Make sure he's sitting straight. Okay, I think that's good enough. So I'm just going to go around all of my lines. Of course, it's not going to show right there on his head. I debated back and forth whether to do a bluebird or a redbird, and I voted on a redbird. All right, I'm going to lift it up and see if he's on there. There he is. I ordered the white. I ordered a multicolored package of that graphite paper. I got it in blue, yellow, orange, and white, and then the regular black and gray. So it comes in handy when you've got it a dark surface like this, where it'd be kind of hard to see the black on it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some red. I'm going to use Tuscan red for the little bird. And I think I'm going to just stick with the angle brush. And remember, that's a chalk pencil, so it will just wipe off once you're done. You just want to clean it before you seal it. Okay, I'm trying to get, there's some nail holes in there, so I'm trying to get that paint down in there. probably should have base coated this with a gray. Actually, I'm blank right now as to what color we usually put under red. Okay, I'm going to turn him just a little bit. You bought you a sled from Home Creations, milling and signage. But of course, it's just flat, but that's okay. I have about 5 of those sleds, Peggy. Gray. Yes, I think it is gray under the red. We're going to make it work. Thought about that after I put the red down. If you put gray, just a light gray under the red, it will cover better, especially on a dark surface like this. I think with a few coats we can get him bright. The trick is filling in all these grooves where they've cut it with a tool. Okay, just making his tail feathers. Okay, now I need to stop because I'm just pushing wet paint around. I need to dry it a little bit before I put this next coat on. Peggy, that Home Creations, is that Erica's Home Creations, the one she uses? I haven't ordered anything. I need to look on that website. I haven't ordered anything from them. I got what I have when we went to her last retreat. She had several blanks there, and I bought several from her then. Whoops, I got out of line there, but it's all right. So she had some sleds, and I bought 5 or 6 of them. Trying to decide if I want to keep one of these for myself. I don't have hardly anything of my own that I've painted that I decorate with, because they always sell, which is a good thing. But then I look around my house and I don't have anything that I've made to pass down to my kiddos. And okay, I'm gonna have to put some more red out. And he's starting to look like a little birdie. This Tuscan red is really good. I like it a lot. I loved their tomato red. I think that's the one. They don't make it anymore. You could do this with a flat brush as well. It is a little bit easier when you're doing curves, though, to do it with the angle brush. The toe of it, the long end, just makes it a little easier to get in spaces. Tight corners. All right, so the ones on here that have already signed up, paid, and gotten into the workshop page, the workshop that I'm having at the end of the month, if you've already paid and you're going, it's an online workshop, say yes workshop. Comment yes workshop. Got 24. Last time I looked, I haven't looked this afternoon. But let me know if you're going. Just say yes workshop. I've been working on it really hard the last 2 days. Hi Heather. Oh, you're not that late. I'm just getting some base coating done right now. Yay, Roxy's going. Dana, Peggy, Laura. Yay, I'm excited to do it. It's my first one. And I've already learned a lot. And I've already learned that there's a lot more to learn about the technical side of it. Just getting everything to work so that people can pay and get access to the page. So far, I only have one now. I had two that weren't able to get in and access and pay. But we discovered the one person, it was something on her phone was not letting her. She used a different phone and she got right in and was able to pay. Okay, let's put a little more on this tail. Whew, that ring light is hot up here today. It is cooling down though. I mean, our temperatures are cooling down. I'm gonna turn my little fan a little bit closer to me. I can do it so it doesn't fall. Ooh, that feels good. All right, let's see what that looks like after it dries. No, you do not need a password. Dana, what's in her kitchen? You don't need a password. Once you pay, you click on get access and then click on discussion, and then you can go in and make comments, and that's where you'll see the list, the supply list. I tried to do the supplies with just things that you have around your house. I don't want you having to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. You'll need some cut up poster board in pieces of 5x7 or 8x10. 5x7 is fine. Or cut up pieces of paper sack. Or if you have a multimedia sketchbook, that would work also to do our practice strokes that we're going to do. Okay. I think we're good on that. All right, let's try it just a little bit, and then, well, actually, I think it's just right to put the shading around it. I'm going to see what I like about this deep burgundy. I use that a lot, and sometimes I use the rockwood red to shade with. You could add a little bit of brown to your red. That would also work. Okay, so I'm going to get just a little of the red back in that, back in my angle brush, and then I'm just going to get a little bit on the tip here. And let's see if that does the trick. It's going to take a couple of coats of it. But I think that will do it. It's kind of hard for me to tell with that ring light. Okay, let's do the tail feathers. Okay, yeah, let's start getting it up. We'll just need to do a couple coats. Now I will go around the bird with that dark brown like we did the snowman. But I want to move on to the other details. Since you saw me do that, you know what that is. So for time's sake, I may do that off camera. Let's put in a little wing here. Okay, let's dry that and put a second coat on it. Hi, Kathy and Nene. When you're floating, it's so thin, it dries really fast. So you can go and put 2 or 3 coats on it in no time to darken it up. And I'm using my base coat of that red, that Tuscan red on it. And I've got just a little bit of moisture on it. And then I smooth it out. I don't know if it's showing up that well for you, but I can really see it now. That second coat made a big difference. And it'll dry a little bit darker as well. Our little feather lines here. All right, let's try and see if that's dark enough for us. Red all over my hand. Okay, I think it is, but I am going to take my liner brush with that dark color, and I'm going to define his little feathers a little bit more with just a line. Okay, now we need to do the little beak, and I'm going to do it in deep ochre. Typically I would do it in a little bit brighter yellow, but this is such a muted piece that I decided to go ahead and just do it in the deep ochre. And I've got a tiny little, it's a number 2 Princeton Velvet Touch square or flat brush, a little bitty. I'm going to do that beak with. Typically I would put white under my yellow first, a yellow color, but again this is kind of an antique-y look, so I'm okay that it's a little bit darker and muted. And I'm sorry I did not bring my quiet dryer up here. I'm using it downstairs right now for all those pumpkins and snowmen that I'm doing. Okay, one more little coat. Hi, Kimberly. Thank you, Roxy. And then we'll do just a little bit of shading on the beak. All right, let's go with okay, I think I'm going to shade it with honey brown. If I can get it open. So we've got another one already open. I do. Here's one already open. Let's see if it's dark enough. We may want to go with the dark brown. So I'm just going to use that same tiny little brush. Okay, I'm going to get into some of that dark brown that we used to float around the snowman. and just kind of mute it there. Okay, then I'm going to take my tiny little liner brush again, and we will put a little line in his or her beak, whatever it is. I'm mixing a little bit of that brown, that darker brown, into this honey brown. Just to give her a hint of the beak separation. Still a little more up here. Okay, so I just watered some of that brown down. Give her a little nostril so she can breathe. Okay, and we'll do an eye here in just a little bit once we start doing these eyes and I get that black out. Okay, so here's what we've got so far. Now I'm going to go ahead with that dark brown, or with, let's see, I think I decided to use sable brown because this is so dark, for some branches. Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, I didn't really have a choice with the muted look, with the way this sled is. Sometimes the piece itself dictates what you can and can't do. All right, so I'm going to switch to my long liner brush. And let's make some branches coming out from under her. Typically, I would go with a burnt umber or chocolate brown for the branches. But since this is about that color, I'm just going to go with a little bit lighter. And we'll put some branches out here. Okay, that's showing up really well. So that'll work. But I kind of wanted to get these on first so that I could make sure I didn't get the eyes too high. Okay, I'm going to turn it around. And then we'll come out. I'm not sure what my husband's hammering down there, but don't know if y'all can hear him. Mr. Pam's hammering something. Just making several little branches coming out. And then you just do little branches breaking off. All right, let's see what we can get with that. Go back in here where it was a little rough. Okay, we'll try it with all right, I'm going to fill it in just a little bit since I turned it around. Well, you know what? The needles will fill that in. I think we'll be fine. So I'm going to start with Evergreen. It's a dark green. All of the paints I'm using tonight are Deco Art. So we'll start with the dark green. It's not going to take much. And let's go ahead and dry it just a little bit. I don't want any of that brown coming off. And let's just start making some needles here and there. So I'm just loading that brush, rounding it out. A water drip there. And we're just going to start doing some pine needles. And let's see, I may have to switch to a different color if this doesn't show up. Got a gnat here. All right, let's switch to don't know if this will show up any better or not. It's Plantation Pine. Just a little bit lighter. Okay, I think it's going to show up a little bit better. And then we'll put a couple of other colors in it too. And I just go out in all different directions. Some of them crisscross each other. I have it's getting much better. I don't know if you can see my boo-boo there. And it's my own fault. I was sneaking my granddog a little bit of the juice from the supper we were fixing the other night that I was fixing. So I was sneaking her some of the little tidbits of the meat and adding it to her food. And I burnt myself on the skillet doing it. So it was like, yeah, that's what you get for sneaking her people food when she's not supposed to have it. But I can't resist those big brown eyes when she's looking at me. So the edge of the skillet caught my arm and man, did it burn. Okay, so I'm just going right over that other branch. There's another way to make these needles with a different type of brush, and I will be showing that in the workshop. So once we put this lighter color, the next color in, it'll make it pop also. Just going every direction on top of the others. make some come up over her body. I like to use pine branch hair sometimes for the snowmen when I'm doing them. Okay, now it really shows up on the white. And I'm glad I did these first, because I'm afraid I would have put my eyes a little bit too high. Now we want to start going in the opposite direction. These are going out this way, and these this way. So actually turn it around just a little bit. Kind of coming back a little bit, crisscrossing, and then going back over. I just like them to kind of look intertwined. I know that's probably not showing up really well on camera for you because it is such a dark color, but I can see them really well, so I'm okay with it. Just everywhere you have a little branch coming out. Adding a little more moisture to my brush. This rough surface dries it out. Got some of the green on the feet of the sled. Okay, just putting some right there in the middle. All right, hopefully you can see those enough there. I'm going to make a little bit longer ones over here. Just to kind of balance them out. Okay, now let's go to Hauser light green. And let's put a little bit of contrast in there. like you've got some new foliage. And that's the Hauser Light Green. And you won't do as many with this. This is just kind of highlighting some branches here and there, or some needles, like you've got some new growth coming in. So kind of just here and there. Okay, look at the contrast here versus none over there. It's got a little bit of those highlights. It brings that, putting that light in brings the darker out. So you can see, actually see your darker ones better because there's a contrast there now. Thank you, Nene. Thank you, Miss Cindy, Karen, and Miss Peggy. Thank you. Okay, now I'm crisscrossing back, going forward, backwards. Just crossing over some of the needles that I've already put there. I still have never painted a pine cone. I need to learn how to do pine cones. Okay, I think that is enough. Let me find my pencil and we will, excuse me, get some eyes put on here. Okay, so I don't know if you can see the rough ridges right here where a saw blade or something has made really deep. It's not like your laser cut. I mean, it's deep and rough. So I want to try, see if I can, it's pretty good over here, but I'm going to see if I can put the eyes typically a little bit lower than what I normally would. So let's put a little cheekbone here. I'm going to do this very lightly. So I may erase it. Yep. that's a little bit high. If we put the nose there and the mouth down here, let's see if we can get away with doing it that way. We'll just put them a little bit lower. We're going to go over that with black anyway, so it's not going to matter. Make them a little bit higher. Now I'm just freehanding these. If you had a pattern, you would not be having to do that, but well, that one still looks a little lopsided there. Oops, let me turn around and do this one upside down. Okay, that's the size I want. I think I can go just a little bit higher with this one. Okay, let me get that pencil mark out of there. And I think I'm happy with that. Let's get us a carrot nose here. I'll have it coming off to the side there. Okay, and let's get a mouth. And put some more little details there in just a second. Okay, so there's our eyes. What do you think? Does it look? It's kind of looking off to the side. Hi, Michelle. Hello, Rhonda and Nelda and Miss Sheila. Okay, so that's just kind of free-handed, so it's not perfect. Thank you so much for the hearts. I love the hearts. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's get started with, let's go ahead and do the eyes. And we'll put some little eyebrows here too. So I'm gonna need some black. It's not gonna take a lot, but we also have to do the mouth. So while I have this black, let's go ahead and do a little eye for the little birdie. We're gonna do I call it a sideways V. So I'm gonna kind of curve it out. Now you could have it asleep. like its eye is closed. Then I'm going to make the little eyeball. And let's make a little bit of eyelashes. Now that's why I like this tiny, tiny little detail liner. Okay, and then I need to put some white behind that. Just a little bitty dot's all we need. See, I've got the part behind the eyeball that's red. That needs to be white. So I'm taking that same little liner brush and just going to fill it in. Didn't have quite enough on my brush. Bristles on this are trying to split. So we'll come back over that with some black and clean it up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put a little white on this beak while we're here. Tiny little details. Now you could do that with a paint pen, a fine tip paint pen as well. Okay, so I'm going to come back over and clean up that white. I'll put a little dot. Okay, and there's our little birdie eye. Now, let's get started on our snowman eyes. Again, using that little liner brush. Just getting it outlined, and then we'll fill it in with a larger brush. Starting to come to life. My husband has less than 2 months now before he gets to retire. So excited. We have a little fall festival thing at our congregation for the kids at our congregation. And I always have a little painting booth for them. Last year they got to paint pumpkins. This year they're going to paint candy corn. Let's see here what brush I want to do. Okay, so I'm going with a little bit larger, a lot larger round brush. You could use a little flat brush. Some of the brushes I normally use are, I've had them downstairs working with on my other stuff. When I do batch painting, I do it down on my dining room table because I don't have room to batch paint up here. So I took stuff downstairs. And typical with a two-story house, when you're upstairs, everything you need is downstairs. When you're downstairs, everything you need is upstairs. Okay, let's let those dry on their own for a minute. Here's what we've got while we work on the mouth. And I'm going to switch to my longer liner brush. It's much longer. Well, I'm actually going to dry those eyes. I'm afraid I'm going to put my arm through them. And there I will. So your hubby's going to work 5 more years. I know they're going to try to talk my hubby into working longer, but I think he's done. He is ready. A little bump there, so I'll see if I can clean it up with this black. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to use that same round. Just fill that mouth in. Let's go ahead and put a second coat on those eyeballs. You wouldn't think that black would need a second coat, but sometimes it does. Ooh, I hear the train whistling, so that means they didn't go on strike today, I guess. I didn't even know they were threatening to go on strike. All right, so let's fill this guy in. Now you could do just the line for his smile and not have an open mouth. I just like the open mouth look. But sometimes I do just put a line, a smile line. My husband loves the sound of a train on the tracks and the whistle. Ours comes by usually about at least four times a day and night. And he just loves it. His dad used to work for the railroad, and it just reminds him so much of his dad. So if they go on strike, he will miss that. Okay, got some small lines there. Then we need to do some eyelashes, the nose. I may put some red berries here. I'm not sure yet. Let's put some eyebrows. This one I have to do upside down or it will not look right. Okay, here's what we got so far. Kind of looks like the Walmart smiley face right now, only white. He will look like a snowman once we get that nose on there. Okay, so I'm going to water down my black a little bit. And give him some eyelashes, or her. So I go long, short, long, short, long. And then I do some in between. And then I'll have to turn it this way to get them to go the opposite direction. See, a little bit of pencil mark there. Okay, that was a long one, and a short one, long, short in the middle there. And then we'll put some just here and there. Okay, I'm going to take some of that, let's see what color we got here. Let's do some of the Williamsburg glue around the outside of the black in his eyes. And it won't take much. Trying to catch the gnat that's in here. Tamara Bennett had a fly in her live the other day and they named him. I can't remember what they named him. We may end up having to name this gnat. Okay, so just on the very outside edges of that black, we're going to put some of that Williamsburg blue. Okay, look at the difference in the two eyes. The one that's got the blue around it, and then the one on well, my right, that does not have the blue. I just think it adds a little bit, just enough to it to pop that eye out. Oh, that didn't sound good. Pop the eye out. That didn't sound good at all. Make that eye stand out. There we go. No snowmen were hurt during this live. Okay, we are not popping eyes out. Having the right brush makes all the difference in the world. I'm not saying you have to have expensive brushes, just the right kind. The right size for the job. Okay, so we've got that. Now let's put some little sparkles in his eye. Hang on just a second, let me get my other. Okay, there it is. Okay, so we're going to go with some white for the sparkle, and then I'm going to put white here for a tongue so we can go over it in red. I'll brighten it up just a little bit. I'm watering my white down just a little bit. Anytime you're doing line work, this small, anytime you're doing line work, it just really helps to kind of have your paint thin down just a little bit. So we're going to make a T. And I'm not putting much pressure. Okay, let's make one over here. Okay, those were my long ones. Now I'm going to put an X in the center, shorter. So many different ways to do eyes, but I typically end up doing them this way. And then right in the center, I'm going to take my stylus. You could use the wood or plastic end of your paintbrush, but we're going to put a little dot right in the center. And those will take a few minutes to dry, so we want to be sure we don't rub our arm across them. And let's take that white and draw our tongue. So we're just going to make an M right in the center here. And we're going to fill it in. And I'm just using that little liner brush. Putting a little bit of pressure on it to fill in that space. If you haven't heard about the workshop that I'm having at the end of the month, I know some of you hopped on a little late. It does make a difference, Roxy. The fly was named Elroy. That's right. Hi, Vicki. Hello. We have... Yeah, they're really bad right now. The gnats and the flies. And we were dealing with ants the other day. I was about to say something and then I forgot. Okay, let's put, see if I can get enough red out of, I've got this mound of red here that underneath I know is wet. See all that wet there? We don't need much more than that. Let's see if we can make that work. I know this seems really tedious, and it does take a little bit of extra time. I'm not a fast painter, but I just think the details, the little bitty details like this are what brings it to life. And honestly, if you're intimidated about the workshop, that it looks too hard or too detailed, we're going to do it just like this, step by step, only I will slow it down a little bit and do a little more explaining as to what we're doing. Need a pattern with the workshop that we're doing. It's going to be, you can draw it with things that you've got around your house. If you're good at freehanding, you can even freehand it. And the piece that we're going to be doing, you can paint it on wood, or you can do it on canvas. You can do it on metal, really whatever you have laying around. Just the size that I'm using, this surface, this one was about an 8 by 10 or so, 8 by 11. So if you have like an 8 by 10 canvas or a piece of wood or anything that you can paint on, it'll be fine. But for practicing some of the things that we're going to do, the strokes and things that we're going to learn, you'll just need some cut up poster board, some a multimedia sketchbook, or some cut up paper sacks, just something that you can practice and do some strokes on that we're going to be doing. Okay, let's put, I think our tongue is good. We need to put a little bit, I always forget to put a little bit of the pink underneath the cheeks. Let me grab some pink. I did not grab some. Let's use poodle skirt pink. I think that'll work okay. I'm knocking all my paints down up there. Okay, I'm going to try using, I don't know if that one will work or not. We'll see. I'm going to use a little flat brush to do this. I'm going to get a little bit of white on it, and then just on the corner, I'm going to get a little bit of that pink. Okay, so there's the difference. There's one with the pink under it and one without. Which do you like best? With or without the pink? And a little bit more to this side. Okay, and I'm going to put some also in his little smile lines. You could also take a like a makeup brush or something and pounce it dry on there, or scrub it in dry. Also gives it a nice effect. You could do circles here before you did the black smile lines. All right, let's give this snowman a nose. I'm going to go with Canyon Orange for the nose. I think we need a little bit of highlighting on our little bird. It's a little dark. I'm going to go with my round and this one. Okay, I'm going to lightly go over those pencil marks just to make it a little bit easier to cover up. Okay, for the orange out here, I'm going to put a little bit of white first, just so it will cover better and be as bright as it is on his face. Okay, and I'm just getting it outlined and then we'll fill it in. Okay, now I'm really putting pressure on this round brush to flatten it out. And we'll dry it and put a second coat on it and then do some detailing on it. I actually want his nose to come over just a little bit further. Yes, Dana, $9.99. The reason it's $9.99 is because Facebook, if we did it at $10, for some reason it would not let us do a 3-day. So we had such a hard time getting it, but if we bumped it down to $9.99, then it let us do a 3 consecutive day event. Oh, is that what you were talking about? Move it over a bit, the nose? I just saw your comment on that. Or could you not see it in the, was I not in the camera? Probably put one more coat on it. And then we'll detail it out real quick. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to put this third coat on here upside down. Deb with Art and Grace amazes me how she can paint anything and everything. I don't care what it is, upside down. And it's beautiful. I am not that talented. I love watching her. And if you've just hopped on, if you've just gotten on late, feel free tonight. This is kind of a freebie night to, if you have a business page and you have lives that you go on and whatever, just put your business name in here so we can watch you. You can go to your page and check it out. Okay, so now I'm going to go with, I think we're going to do it with burnt orange to do some shading. I'm going to try to just use that same brush that I just used, a little flat. And give it just some little ridges. Then we got to add our snow, and we can call this little friend done. Y'all, I have the hardest time. I'm trying to get ready for the craft show. I have the hardest time when you spend time on a piece like this, letting it go. Anybody else like that? I just love them hanging up on my wall here, and I get used to them. Little friends. Okay, now I'm going to come up underneath and we'll do the same thing. And wash the brush out. I flipped my brush and I can't remember which side my shading color was on. There we go. So we get the snow on here. That's really gonna make a difference. Okay, so we've got that shading done. I'm going to dry brush just a little bit of yellow in here to highlight it a little bit. This is a new brush that I got at Hobby Lobby. It's just for, it's supposed to be just for doing some highlights in there. We'll try it. So I'm going to go with banana cream. I'm going to put it in there, get it worked in, but then I'm going to get most of it off on my paper towel. And I'll just do a little bit just in the top of those crevices. It's the first time I've used this, so bear with me here. Okay, so we've got a little bit of that yellow in there to highlight it. Let's go around our bird just a little bit with that dark bittersweet. Just getting it a little moist around it. Okay, Nat, go away. You're not invited. Now you won't be able to see this, I don't think, but I can see it here. Get rid of that chalk line. Okay, and that's really all we need to do around it because we don't want to go on the branches. I want to put just a little bit of white highlight on his tongue. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of snow on his nose. Get one of my little, what do I call a scruffy brush? All right, it's just an old brush. Bristles are kind of yucky on it. And we will just put a little bit of snow on the nose, and then we'll do some snowflakes. Also go under his mouth with some of this blue and the nose, and that'll make those offset a little bit too, make them look a little better. Okay, and let's do some snowflakes on the board itself. Let's see if I can do them with my small liner. If not, we'll go to the larger one. You could spackle snow on. Spackle. What's the word I'm trying to think of? Splatter. Not spackle. Splatter. All right, so I've got my small liner. Now again, this surface is so rough that it's hard to get your brush to go where you want it to go. But we are going to make it work. You could also just do dots with your stylus just for the snowflakes. Let's put a little bit of snow. I'm going to use this small flat brush, and let's put a little bit of snow on the branches. So whoever gets this may end up with a gnat in the painting. It's getting mighty close. Okay, yeah, I like that. And I'm putting it on pretty thick. I think it adds a lot to it. Just another one of those little details that you could skip. Okay. Back to our snowflakes. Thank you, Debbie. Hello, Cheryl. I did use graphite paper on the bird. I traced it on tracing paper and then used white graphite paper to trace the bird out. Now I'll have to put the rope back in it, and it will need a bow. We'll have to put the dots on our snowflakes. I make some of the snowflakes large, and then I make some of them a little smaller. Now you could have painted over this blue to give a little bit different background, like like our moonlight snowman. So we're just making a T and then a little X in the center. And you could even put a scarf on him down here. You could fill it up with snow. Just so many different things that you could do with it. Now let's put one more right here, and then we'll do our dots. And I will probably splatter some white on it once it dries a little better. I did splatter some red here, some white on the bird itself. I think, before I forget, I want to make this eye come back a little further. Okay, so now I'm going to go with my largest stylus tip, and then we're going to put dots on our snowflakes. Okay, look at the difference in the snowflakes without, and then the snowflakes with the dots. You can also do the little V marks on them. I've seen that a lot. I've gone over the 2-hour mark, but we are basically done with him. Again, I may splatter a little bit, put a little bit of highlights on the bird, just to kind of lighten her up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to finish those off camera, but here's what we've got. You could go along the edges and do some kind of a border if you wanted to. There's just so many different things that you could do. You could make some little song notes coming out from the bird's beak. All right, so that's what, let me see if I can hold it up here. I don't think the dots are gonna go anywhere. So we can bring it back this far. Okay, and then by the time you get the rope and the pretty bow on it, and then I'm going to spray paint it in a gloss, spray seal it. Thanks for the hearts, y'all. Thank you, thank you. Hello, Roxana. Okay, so I'll finish those, the snowflakes, and do just a little bit of splattering and a highlight on the bird, and do the bow on him. But again, here's what we're going to be doing in the workshop. I'm calling him the Moonlight Snowman, so it's the Moonlight Snowman workshop. We'll be doing a couple of days of just different techniques with your brushes and some tips and things like that. It's going to be the last 2 days of this month, and then the first Saturday morning of October we'll finish it up. There'll probably be about an hour and a half to 2 hours a class on that. So when you're on my page, you'll just go down till you see this picture, click on it, and once you pay, you're automatically in the workshop page. You'll have access to it, or click on get access and then click on discussion and comment, hey, I'm here, I made it, so that I know that you've gotten in okay. Alrighty, so that's what we've got tonight, and I've got to paint 8 snowmen, or 6 snowmen and 2 gingerbread men on the back of those pumpkin trios. I've got to get those done because I've got other orders that are waiting, but that's what we did tonight. And I'll post a picture once I get it completely done for you. Thank you for hanging out with me. I went a little over tonight than what I normally do, but there was a lot of little detail for me. All right, if y'all have any questions at all, that's okay, Roxana. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. But if you have any questions about the workshop, please let me know. It's been interesting, I'll say that much, trying to learn all this technical stuff, getting it all set up. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And fingers crossed everything goes well and I go live okay and it all works out. I'm still trying to figure out how to get your money that you've paid to me. So that's what we're working on now. It's there. It's sitting there in Facebook. I just got to figure out how to get it to come over. It wasn't cooperating with us. So if you have any questions, please let me know. But I'm going to go down and eat some barbecue with my hubby. Thank y'all so much for all the hearts and the sweet, sweet comments. And congratulations again, Peggy, for winning. I'm up to 1,016 now. So I mailed your package today. Take a picture and send me so I can post it when you get that mail. So I'm thinking you'll probably get it Monday, maybe, possibly Saturday, but probably Monday or Tuesday. But anyway, that's it for tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it, y'all. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.